Here I am, in the place to be. Mr. K and B, you can't fuck with me. Extra sexy, extraordinary. Palms are hairy, your mama pop.
What up, y'all? This is K and B, the Sexy Ninja.
I'm Doug.
Ooh, it's been a minute since we've done this.
It has. We've seen a couple movies, just none of them really struck our fancy to try to do this for.
That's why I know, like, with, like, Blue Beetle, we walked out, wasn't for you.
Gosh.
The Marvels, I think I wanted to keep that experience for myself, just because you were like,
Yeah, I mean, you intentionally were enjoying it. You said yourself when we watched that movie, you enjoyed it more the second time, because you got to see me in pain.
Because it's true. You were every time I saw you go, or the glasses. When you pull your glasses off and you're just like, But we're going to go see a movie today, and I think we're paying homage to the first time we did this, but we're not going to die in snow.
I mean, we didn't die last time. We're still here, but
almost.
Yeah.
But we're going to see Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, or Aquaman, the Dark World.
You know what's hilarious is I actually forgot the subtitle of the movie until you just said that.
Oh, really?
I've just been thinking of it as Aquaman 2. That's all it is to me, is Aquaman 2.
And Warner Brothers has washed his hands of it because there was no red carpet premiere. There was no big party, when they get together. Mm-hmm. Like, Jason Momoa just basically got his friends and family, and Patrick Wilson, I think the same thing, and James Wan, they did a screening of the movie, and that's the way it was celebrated. And, like, James Gunn wasn't there.
Better off than Batwoman.
Oh, just killing the movie, like Batgirl?
Yeah. Oh, Batgirl, yeah.
Yeah, just killing the movie just in general.
Yep.
Well, it's going to happen. Like, this is officially the end of the DCEU. Now we're going to get the DCU in 2 years, I think.
Something like that. 25, I think.
I don't know. We've been at this for 10 years. We've argued about it for 10 years.
Yeah. Hasn't gotten any better in 10 years, so I don't think this is going to fix the problem either. Like, it's hilarious to me that they're like, James Gunn's going to be the one running our new everything, and you're like, are we not learning the lesson from Marvel that it doesn't matter if we change things up at this point in time? We are all really freaking sick of superhero movies that have no heart to them. So, like, unless they're going to pull a miracle and start making these exceptional movies, I'm still thinking this is going to be just starting the next chapter of, crap. No offense to it. Like, I'm hoping it's good.
If you've heard the first, I finally put it up. I cleaned it up. I put it out earlier. Our first review when we drove over and watched the movie and everything like that, I shat on that movie as many times as possible. I realized going through some old audio from that year, the next year, any chance I got, I shat on Aquaman. Mm-hmm. And then, like, I finally, is it this year?
Yeah. It was earlier this year that you rewatched it again and went, this is not as bad as I remember.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. I looked at it as a James Wan film. Like Jason Momoa is Aquaman, sure, but he's like a different version of Aquaman that I guess didn't know that I wanted to see. Like, he even mentions it too in his interviews. He's like, hey, when I was told, hey, you're Aquaman, he was like, me? So, but here we go. We're going to go into the theater. Then we're going to get our reaction right after. Hopefully it's a fun one. I'm going in with not high hopes, but just entertain me. Get, just ocean and everything. No weird soundtrack. Hopefully this time around, because even though I rewatched it and kind of like the movie Aquaman more now, the soundtrack's still bad.
Yeah. What is it, Pitbull's Africa?
Yeah.
Like, he does a cover of Toto's Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was rough. That was, oof.
All right, so mid-credit scene, do you think there's going to be one?
Like I said, I don't remember the last, superhero movie that didn't have one of those.
I think Aquaman didn't have one.
Yeah, it
no,
did.
No, it did. Yeah,
it has a scene with Black Manta.
Black Manta. Isn't there two of them, though?
I don't know, probably.
Yeah.
I just remember the scene where they had the really, really long one that had the actor who played Jimmy Wong in...
I think his name's Dr. Shin.
Sure.
Yeah, because I think I saw his pop figure.
Cool. But regardless, like, he was the one that saved Black Manta, and they were talking about Atlantean tech and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's what I remember.
All right, well, we'll catch you on the flip side. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
2 hours later.
Well.
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah, that was a movie.
That was a movie.
Overall, I didn't hate it. It was fun. There was real fun parts. Man, we were all over the place.
Yeah. It definitely seemed like it was the last movie in the universe where they're just like, we just kind of stopped caring right now.
Yeah.
We're just gonna keep
just have fun. It's stupid fun, you know. Like, I really think the two shining points in this movie for me is Patrick Wilson as Orm, and Black Manta. Mamoa was Mamoa.
Well, and that was a thing. I'm getting this weird thing that Jason Momoa is becoming the next Rock, where it's just Jason Momoa being Jason Momoa. It's not Jason Momoa being a character anymore. They're letting Jason Momoa just be
Jason
crazy.
Momoa, yeah.
Between Fast X, this, you know, he's just kind of a goofy. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure meeting him in person would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like, he just seems like the kind of person that meeting him in the person would be awesome. But now his characters just seem to be all the same.
Yeah. And I'll say this, you know, like, for the ending to this whole thing, I was, spoilers, like, the Atlantis reveals himself to the world, like Wakanda did. And I was hoping, I was like, you know what, James, I know that you're really gung-ho about killing this universe just because you want to create yours. You could have gave us one Ben Affleck cameo, Gal Gadot cameo, Ezra Miller, you know, Cyborg, like, watching this TV while Aquaman's telling everybody about Atlantis. You could have given us that. But, you know, just because, I don't know. I think that was a missed opportunity.
So, one thing that I did notice while watching the movie was that there were definitely parts it seems like the company cut the CG budget a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a part where, like, there's these mechanical octopi you see in the movie that are run by the bad guys. And there's a part near the end where they're climbing up a wall where it looks like some real early 2000s, what's it called? Motion capture. Yeah, where it's just, like, slowly going up the wall. The way it's climbing up there, it looks like they were just, like...
Yeah, just yeah. I'll say, too, like, the music was better this time, but the musical cues were weird.
There were some really, like, lighthearted musical cues going on when, like, especially when Orm and Arthur were talking to each other, where you'd get, like, a little pan flute here of just, like...
Yeah. Like, I was like, oh, wow, this soundtrack is all over the place. Like, you have these weird, like, type of, like, scores, then you get the boop, 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 ding, ding.
And then, like, some heavy metal stuff playing as the action's going on. But, like, just when they're talking, it's just, like... Boop, 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 boop. It's just, like...
Yeah.
You can almost hear, like, the...
Yeah. Yeah, but I will say, overall, I didn't hate it. I liked it. I thought it was fun for whatever, you know, because I could tell, like, from the editing standpoint, that's a lot of shit to piece together, especially if they're just going to throw everything away they can for this movie and just be done with it. And I got to give it up to James Wan for just being like, all right. And he added his little James Wan things, too, like the weird, like, when they go, like, when the house is burning down and everything like that, and he says, Dad, he's like, no! And then, like, this weird, like, slow motions it a little bit, and I was like, oh, that's a James Wan thing. There's a couple other things I was like, oh, that's a James Wan thing. So.
I will say, there were a lot of scenes in this movie that just had the... let's overact in the scene.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just crank it to 11. I know we only need, like, an 8, but let's crank it to 11 and act that way. It's just really interesting how all of it goes.
Did you hear when I laughed about the whales?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was thinking, like, when they and inside and everything like that with the whales, I started laughing because I was like, the whales were like, oh shit, what do we do? Arthur just said say hello to them all at once.
And we're just saying hi, 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 hi. Yeah, it's also kind of sad that the sun's powers never really came into, like, any
I kind of like
relevance.
that. But because I thought it would have been cheesy, like, if that was something that saved them. Because when he started going, ooh, 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 and, you know, I was like, oh, is he going to summon something that's going to come save them or something like that? Because then when it was just connecting with his dad, I was like, oh, I like that better then.
But it was still, that was the entire thing that happened in the first movie, was that Arthur got his ability, and, like, when he picked up the trident, he was able to connect with all the creatures.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing, was like, he could communicate, but he really couldn't do much with it. Where then he touched the trident, and then he got that connection to all of the creatures of the sea, to then he was pretty much able to talk to them and tell them what to do.
Yeah,
and the sun just seemed to naturally have that ability.
I do like they do that. Remember our problem with the first movie was he never really wanted to be king. He hasn't accepted. He admittedly says that in this movie. Hey, I never wanted to be king, but I'm going to do it anyway, and it sucks.
No, and it's kind of interesting how it goes. Is if you really think about it, had he just because that was literally they talk about this as one of the things in the movie. Orm was prepared for him to pretty much try to take the throne from him the entire time. And he was just like, no, dude, I didn't want it at all. Like, if you hadn't been a dick, you would still be king.
So I beat you with a little prep time?
Yeah, well, but it's just one of those, his conversation to it is it makes the first movie make more sense.
Yeah.
Where it's like, Orm has been told as soon as Arthur was discovered, hey, this kid is going to come for your home and take it and kick you out of here and stuff, and pretty much, if they'd literally just, after the king had passed away, if Orm had just gone and talked to Arthur and been like, hey, what is your plan with all of this? And be like, I don't want anything to do with this. They could have just had everything fine. The only thing that Orm ever did wrong was try to destroy the surface world.
Yeah.
And had he not tried to do that, he'd be king of Atlantis. That's literally the entire first movie. And that makes me a little more pissed, because it's one of those, for Orm being as... having such decorum to present him with, for him just to be like, crap, if we just talked, we wouldn't have had a problem in the first movie.
We wouldn't have that whole big old war in the first movie.
No.
And that's why I like he tells him, he's like, yeah, you were an asshole. You'd still be king if you weren't an asshole.
Yeah, no, and it's just hilarious to me. It's just one of those, yeah, either they're even admitting in the first script, this movie is what it is because Orm was a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I like the little 2000s kind of flashbacks. I feel like these were added and after okay, how do we get from point A to point B? Mm-hmm. Voiceovers. We need voiceovers.
Yeah.
Then we need to find out about this trident as fast as we can, about this lost kingdom and stuff like that. And then they're like, oh, let's just have a whole montage of things, of what happened with his brother and this and that. And I was like, oh, this feels very 2000s.
I also hate that they killed off what's his name? Volgo? Willem Dafoe's character, just in between movies.
Yeah.
It's like he got the plague and died. And you're like, okay. It's not like you guys don't have magic that can heal shit.
Willem Dafoe's like, just kill me.
Just kill me off. The last thing I'm going to be associated with is the Justice League movie, Snyder's Cut. I'm cool with that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but no, the whole plague thing, I wish they'd kind of harp on that more.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is this movie was just on fast forward.
Yeah.
Where it's we have Ocean Master, we have Black Mana, he finds the trident because global warming, then he gets possessed, and now he's trying to pretty much overheat the world to help another kingdom, and we just skip 5 months of all of this happening, and after 5 months he is pretty much succeeded at his plan.
Yeah.
With nobody doing anything, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, then what a dick move. As soon as he gets unpossessed, look at that. He just grabs his hand before he punches him and just knocks him. I was like, oh, now Black Manta's useless. And then when the guy's like, oh, I found it hilarious when the king got up. Oh, I'm awake. I'm like, he's really just going to get stabbed with his own trident. And then he caught it. I was like, oh, we're going to have a little bit of a fight. No. We're going to have just Arthur
It is also funny to me that the first movie had so many transitions that occurred because of explosions.
Yeah.
And this one just had the exact sort of thing start happening, and Arthur is even just like, I hate when this happens. You've been making fun of the first movie at that, but...
And the elephant in the room, Amber Heard. She was in this more than I thought she would be. Mm-hmm. Way more. I thought they were going to kill her off when she got shot by Black Manta, and you clapped. You're like, ha ha ha, bye-bye, Amber Heard. Then they're like, nope. She's throughout the whole thing. She lives.
Yeah, I mean, that was some pretty extensive damage just to walk off, too. Although it is funny because it seems like Atlanteans have, this crazy healing factor, because Orm was also pretty badly beaten, too, at the end of one point, and pretty much next scene is totally fine.
I'm going to keep drinking water now, though. You see how buff he got after he got into the water?
That was hilarious. Yeah, no. It's just, to me, it's funny because... They pulled a freaking Marvel Super Soldier thing on it.
Yeah, right?
Where it's just
he's all skinny, decrepit, and then the water just sinks over
Super
him.
Soldier steroids!
Yeah, then he jumps out of the water. I'm like, oh shit, he's buff now.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Then the cut between after he saves the Orm and whatnot, and then Arthur, and immediately after he's clean cut shaved. I was like, oh, we ain't fucking around. You're just straight to it, aren't we?
Yeah. Again, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many skips in this movie that just seem to like happen like this, and I'm just like, man, if we just taken more time on some of this, we could have cut out some parts probably and made it probably a more streamlined story.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like everything's jumping all over the place. Like, the whole thing with the scientist who was helping...
Shin
helping Black Manta the entire time, and pretty much begrudgingly doing it the entire time outside of the very beginning. Oh, excuse me.
I just wanted to see Atlantis. I was just like, well, you're helping global warming, buddy.
Yeah, like, you figured it out, too, and you didn't do anything about it. I was just thinking the hilarity of it would have been if he, there's that part when near the end when they're both flying off with the octopi, and they blow up this wall to make it into the Lost Kingdom. It would have been hilarious if Black Manta had gone in and he just had left. Because, like, what's he gonna do at this point in time? Like, it's literally, as far as the bad guys go, it's Black Manta and the scientist. Like, had he just peeled off, there's nothing that he could have done. He could have just ran away, and then he would have been like, oh, now I have nothing to stop this with.
Oh, and there was a mid-credit scene. I think it was a fun mid-credit scene.
It wasn't something that was like ever trying to set anything up, because there's nothing to set up anymore. But it was very cute, and it also called back to something earlier in the movie. So, like, it was, again, like I said, I knew there was going to be one, just because there's never really not. But whether or not it had relevance is a completely different story.
What would you rate this movie?
Like a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10? That's not bad for you.
Well,
better than the Marvels?
I mean...
Well, you gave Marvels a low rating a week.
I know. Well, and the difference is, though, the Marvels is still trying to build towards another universe of stuff. So I can be a lot more lenient on Aquaman, because obviously it doesn't lead into anything. Like, that's the thing, is if this was a continuation of the DC universe, I'd be like, cool, we had a small adventure that should globally impact the world, and I'm sure is not going to make a single difference. But because it's the end of this entire stuff, and it's just kind of, we're ending it, like, that's how it goes, I can be a little more lenient on it, because they're not trying to tell a bigger story. They're just trying to tell their story.
I'm at a 6 as well.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I didn't hate it. I didn't fall in love with it. You know, it's a movie that I feel like I would just put on to be in the background while I'm doing stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, and just be like, oh, I like this part. I'm gonna see this part. Then I'm gonna go back to do something. Oh, and then come back. I like this part too.
Be honest, I'd rather watch Fast X in the background if we're talking about.
Oh yeah, they watch Momoa's acting in that. Yeah,
I'd rather have Mamoa. If I'm gonna have Mamoa in the back, I'd rather have Fast X. Like, no, again, he is growing on me as an actor, but I'm also noticing that in movies, he is being him. That's all it is.
One tone and everything like that.
Yeah. Which is, it's a fun tone. Don't get me wrong. Like, energetic Mamoa is fun.
And I gotta say, that's why I kind of really like Patrick Wilson's stand in it, just because I was like, he's the balance between the two. You know, he's the serious one, and like, no, when they're running, and I was like, why is he running so fucking weird?
There's a part where he freaking Naruto runs.
Yeah.
Like, he just keeps his arms to his side and is running. And it's funny because I saw that in the top of the screen. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's doing this. Is this supposed to be like a bit? And then it cut to Arthur calling him out on it. I was like, oh, I thought it was just going to be Patrick Wilson just doing something funny in the background.
No, then I like when he's like, move your arms. Then he starts being faster than Arthur. He's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I give it a 6 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I wish we did get the whole Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash thing, especially when he was announcing to the world that Atlantis is real and stuff like that. I was like, James Gunn, I know you wanted to kill the DCEU with all your might and say that it's over. You could have at least given everybody that loves the Snyderverse and everything a nice nod out the door. It's done. It's over with, you know. But
yeah. So, but they don't have that kind of, like, because that's what happened at the end of Black Adam. When we get freaking Henry Cavill showing up, and we're just like, oh my gosh! Oh wait, it means absolutely nothing because they're resetting the freaking universe. Like, imagine, because you're getting irritated that they didn't give those cameos, but the universe is over. What's the point of teasing everyone about this universe now that it's dead?
I know, and that's just the selfish part of me, because every time I watch The Flash now, like, I see them, I'm like, these guys are together. I wish Superman was here, but he's mentioned. You know, at least we know that they're out there. This one is like, yeah, it's just Aquaman. There's nobody else. There's no other heroes. Like, could we call the Justice League? Ah, nah.
What are you going to call the Justice League for in this movie?
Yeah,
Although it would have been hilarious if they'd been like, hey, so we found this lost kingdom, but above it, there's some weird fortress.
No, what would be best is, like, it would have been fun. It was like, he goes, we can call Batman, and Arthur's like, no.
Well, okay, so the last time I remember seeing Aquaman, canonically, he's in the end of Peacemaker.
Oh, yeah.
Where
the asshole showed up late and everything like that.
Yeah.
Heard you fuck a fish.
Yeah.
then
Flash laughs and he goes, fuck you, Barry. But, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the last time we really get them together, think about it that way. Where you're just like, that's really weird that John Cena got the last, like, full DCEU group
back together and stuff like that. So, all right. Well, 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. That's the end of it. That's it. That's all. No snowstorm this time.
No,
so
that's 2023 for us, too.
A lot of snow in that one, though. The movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A lot of snow and ice. So
it was also really funny because the beginning cut where they show the title card seems so incongruous to everything else. Like, it's the kid staring at his fish tank, and it's got, like, this granite-looking background. Suddenly, there's an ice shelf that just drops.
Yeah.
And it's just Aquaman, the Lost Kingdom, and you're like, what the hell are we doing in the Arctic?
I remember, like, thinking in the starting of this movie, I was like, where's his mom? Then out of nowhere, she just comes in. I was like, oh, she's still alive. Okay, cool. But, like, that weird montage in the starting. Like, I really like when he's like, and I'm Aquaman, I talk to fish, but I can kick some ass. And then I like the little cut between him playing the toys.
It is kind of cute. It's also one of those, why would the Queen of Atlantis, the one who has the highest level of power outside the king, obviously, with Arthur, his mom, why would she be on the defense force? Like, front line of the defense force.
Defense force also,
with the Queen, with Mira. You're like, I don't think that they should let you do that.
Also, this whole, like, we can't break treaties with where Orm's at and stuff like that, and that was kind of like, okay, they never really touch on it. They're just at the end, they're like, hey, you died in the ice, you can go run away now. And then, like, when Arthur is, like, clearly telling the world about Atlantis, and they go back to the council or whatever, there's always the fucking council, but they go back to the council, and the council even look like, oh shit, why is he telling the world about us? Who authorized this? Oh, okay.
I mean, it's also hilarious to me, the idea that there's a king, the king of Atlantis, and then you have a council that can tell the king what to do. And you're like, whoa. What's the point of even having the king then?
Well, it's kind of like in Wakanda. Remember, he had a council.
Yeah, but he could do things on his own. That was the entire thing that Killmonger did.
Yeah.
Killmonger came in and went, screw you people. I'm doing this because I'm the king. And they couldn't stop him.
Yeah. But I do like the fact he's like, I don't like this job. There's boring. There's meetings. He's falling asleep in the...
No, it is. But...
Yeah.
Also, no, it's good. It's good. It's not the worst way this could have ended. I'm really glad this didn't end with the Flash. That would have been kind of sad. End on George Clooney Batman.
Oof. Yeah, I still don't understand that choice. But all right, y'all. 6 out of 10 for both of us. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, share it with your grandma, share it with your grandpa, share it with the bum down at Walmart. If you see Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, tell us what you thought of the movie in the comments below. And that's it. That's all. I'm KMB the Sexy Ninja.
I'm Doug.
Remember, stay sexy, ninjas.
Welcome to the wicked shit.
Oh, yeah.